What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel and thanks for joining the Eagles Nest. So I just came back from Vegas, did another club PRS match, had a really good time. This one was hosted by Desert Sportsman Rifle Club. Check them out, put a link in the description below. They also host PRS accurized AR matches as well as NRL 22 and IDPA matches. So if you guys want to join one of those matches, check out practicescore.com. Again, check out the description below. So took out the good old trusty Savage 110 and 6 ARC. We had a good 1130 degree head-on wind at 13 to 17 mile per hour, so it did pose quite a bit of a challenge getting those long-range impacts, and in fact it also did switch it up for the 700 and 500 yard shots. So in this video I'm going to give you guys a summary of this match, and at the end I'll give you guys some tips and pointers if you guys are looking to join a PRS match. Stick around. Alright, so stage 1 starting off on a very fast pace. We got 20 seconds on the clock. This is called 3, 2, 1. Unfortunately, I didn't get any video footage. The camera just didn't hit record, or I didn't hit record on the camera. But the course of fire was very simple. Basically, you move in the prone position and you gauge targets at 653 yards. You got 3 targets on a kind of a KYL rack. The 3 MOA target is a 0.5, the 2 MOA is a 1 point, and then the 1 MOA target is 2 points. So basically you call out your shots. You can only engage the target once. So for instance, you call out the 2 MOA target, you hit it or you miss. You have to either hit the 1 or the 3 MOA on the next shot. Then after that you can go back to the 2. So technically on a perfect run you'll go 2, 1, 2, 1. Good job on Mike. He ended up scoring a 6 on this round. Stage 2, called Rooftops. We got IPSC targets at 965 yards and 1,037 yards. 105 seconds on the clock. Course of fire is pretty simple. Move to the rooftop and engage a 965 yard target with 3 rounds. After that, you're going to move to the second position, and there's a little bit of a change here. We'll use a tank trap instead. So the second position, you engage a IPSC target on 1,037 yards with 3 rounds. After that, move back to the rooftop and re-engage a 965 yard target with 3 rounds.
All right, spotters up. Spotters up. Shooter ready? Yeah. Stand by. Go.
No, I don't want to touch some of these. I don't think it's focused on it.
Yeah, where is it?
Impact. Impact. Impact! 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 Impact!
Good shooting, Simon.
Damn, Simon.
Stage 3, called I Can't Find a Target, which is pretty funny because you hear me call this out on this course. So we have IPSC squares at 1253, then you have one at 1327, then you have another one at 425 and 551. 105 seconds on the clock. Course of fire is pretty simple. On the start signal, you move to the tabletop and engage a 1,253 yard target with 2 rounds, so you only have 2 shots to make this hit. And then you go over to the 1,327 yard target and engage that with 2 rounds. After that, move over to a tipped over chair and you're going to engage a 331 yard target, the 3 MOA target with 2 rounds, and then a 425 3 MOA target with 2 rounds. So anything deployed on the clock, so any equipment that you can think of.
All right, so you understand the course of fire, right?
Fucking movie. 12. Yeah, 11.
All right, we got spotters.
Here, have one of these.
All
guys.
right.
My hands
All
are
right.
getting
Shooter
sweaty.
ready?
You're ready.
Stand by. go where the beer flows like wine. Need a lot more elevation than that, buddy. No, just bring it in. Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Of course. Come on, wind.
There he comes. Well, look at the American flag. That's the wind flag here. Not this
Hey,
one.
Hell
Yeah.
Go! Hell yeah! First time you hit that shit.
Oh, just off the right.
Damn it!
Good elevation though. Get excited.
Damn it.
Hey,
Six
you're the
arc,
first.
showing up.
First shot impact is fucking how. That's all that matters, man.
Yeah.
All these bums couldn't hit shit.
Oh my gosh, this is stupid.
I love when you talk shit.
Where is that 13? Alright, see it.
Good win. Half mil high. Oh, same spot.
Definitely uplift on the road. There you go.
Back. Back.
Oh!
Oh my gosh.
The three the hard way, but still worked. Those three tied the highest score.
Your second shot at 1162, did you see it?
Yeah.
Like here's the right corner.
Yeah.
Fucking right there. Barely off.
Stage 4 is Rooftops 2.0. You have paddles at 331 yards, 425, and 551. 105 seconds on the clock with up to 9 rounds. So on the buzzer, you're going to move to the first designated position on the rooftops and engage a 3 MOA paddle in order of 331 yards, 425, then 551. Then move to the second position on the rooftop and engage the 2 MOA paddles at 331, 425, and 551. Then finally move to the last position on the rooftop and engage a 1 MOA paddle. There's a little change on this one at 331, 425, and 551. Now a 1 MOA paddle at 331 is 3 inches. A 1 MOA paddle at 425 is 4, and a 1 MOA paddle at 551 is 5 inches. So very tiny targets.
Alright, so you're gonna stand course fire? Yep. Stand by. Back. Stand back. Back. Back.
Shit almost hit me in the face. Oh, it's gusting now.
Back.
Hit me in the face. Cool.
Whoa.
Time.
Oh shit.
Stage 5 is called back and forth. This is a tiebreaker stage. You have bowling pin targets, 3 of them at 425 yards, 60 seconds on the clock with up to 12 rounds. On the course of fire, you're going to begin standing behind the concrete. On the buzzer, you're going to move to your rifle, go prone, and engage the bowling pins from left to right. You must hit to move on. Well, after you get to the last target on the right side, you're going to switch over to your support side. So if you're right-handed, you'll switch over to left-handed. If you're left-handed, you'll switch over to the right. And then re-engage the targets from right to left. So this is a tiebreaker stage, so the fastest time can help you win the match.
I'm standing course of fire.
Yep.
Stand by.
Impact. 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 Impact.
Well, damn it.
Just off at 2.
Nope, on that
I
last
just
one?
kept losing sight. Picture.
She only got 4.
Okay.
Here's a solid run from Mike. Good
You
shooting.
ready?
Yep.
Stand by.
Impact. 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 Impact.
All right, that was just really, really fast. Amazing. Huh?
Yeah, latest speed. What was that time? 30.
Stage 6 is called 11-11s. We have squares at 1104 yards and 1162 yards. 105 seconds on the clock with 10 rounds. This course of fire was pretty difficult. You had to stage up your secondary mag on the other table. Basically, on the buzzer, you move to the tabletop and engage the 1104 yard target with 2 rounds. Then transition over to the 1162 yard target and engage that with 2 rounds. Then you drop your magazine and move over to the other table. Reinsert that magazine and then engage the 1162 yard target with 2 rounds. Transition over, then engage the 1104 yard target with 2 rounds. Drop your magazine again, move over to the other tabletop and engage the 1104 yard target with the original mag with 1 round, and then transition over to the 1162 yard target and engage that with 1 round. While moving to tabletops, obviously the bolt's back in an empty chamber.
Impact.
Fuck yeah.
Do we have 2 more shots there?
Two more shots. 2 more shots.
I know.
Time.
Stage 7, this is called the covert. We have a KYL rack at 425 yards, and then you have a square at 742 yards. 105 seconds on the clock, 8 rounds. Now this course of fire, you could easily get a 0 or you could get extra points. So basically, on the buzzer, you move to the covert and you gauge the KYL rack. You must hit a paddle in order to engage the 742 yard target. If you don't, you go to the next paddle. So every shot you take, you must attempt a paddle until you run out of paddles. So, like I said, you could get a 0 if you miss all 4 paddles, or if you manage to get one of the paddles, you could go to the 742 yard target. The wind was being a little switchy on this one, so a lot of us dropped points. However, I managed to tie the top score.
Yep. Stand by.
Oh, come on.
Next paddle.
Next paddle, next paddle.
Next paddle.
What's that?
Yeah. Got lots of time. You only have 1 shot left, so.
Make it count.
Ah, yeah.
Looks like you're low.
Yeah, I got more.
Top of the call.
Next paddle. Next paddle. Next paddle. Back. 742. Get back.
That's the top, right?
Last paddle.
Stage 8, this is the last stage and no name. So we have a 8-inch popper target at 331 yards, and then you have a square at 797 yards, 105 seconds on the clock with 9 shots. So on the course of fire, upon the buzzer, you're going to move on top of the barrel and engage a 331 yard popper target with 1 round. Then move to the prone position and engage the MOA circles at 797 in order. Largest 3 MOA to smallest 1 MOA with 1 round. After that, you're going to move back onto the barrel and re-engage a popper. Try to hit that with 1 shot, and then move back to prone and re-engage a 797 yard targets from smallest to largest. After that, move back to the barrel itself and re-engage the popper on the last attempt with 1 round. So this one was pretty tough. I managed to get the highest score on this stage.
Oh, right. Yep.
Stand by.
Take it easy, boys. Janae will probably outshoot you.
Oh. Keep trying to pull the trigger, but I didn't remember I both did.
Get back. There you go. Down. Next position. Next position. Prone.
God, I just watched the other guy do that and I was like, oh, he's not paying attention.
Get back. Ah, yeah.
Damn, the wind fucking died.
Impact.
Holy shit, I had a 0.8.
One more shot. One more shot.
Oh shit. Well, now I'm gonna time out. I had 1.8. I held it on.
Time. Yeah,
Damn
you
it.
timed out.
Well, folks, you could tell that that match was very difficult, and us having some 14 to 17 mile per hour gust wind really made us drop some points. In fact, the highest hit percentage of that match was 65%, around there. So good job, Mike, for taking the W on that win. Simon took second, and I took third place. So obviously I was running the little 6-arc cartridge, and I do get a lot of comments on my videos saying, why do you choose this little cartridge over the 6-dasher, the GT, the 6BR, any of that? Well, I kind of proved the point. The 6-arc is a very capable cartridge, and the biggest advantage that the 6-arc has over those other cartridges is obviously barrel life. Now, this barrel itself has over 5,800 rounds on it so far. And how I know that is because I go through a crap ton of primers, and I have the primer boxes to prove it. So you guys can blame me for the primer shortage. I'll take it. But anyways, the 6-arc is a very capable cartridge. In fact, I'm pushing the 105 grain projectile burger hybrid at 2,950 feet a second. If I go up another 0.5 grains to around 30.5 to 31 grains, I can actually push this cartridge at over 3,000 feet a second. And that actually gives you more of a sharper impulse, and also gives me a slight pressure sign. So I'm just underneath max pressure. So a lot of the guys that run the BRs and the dashers and all that, they're in fact running a lower velocity from what I've seen. The guys that run dashers or BRs or BRAs, they're in the 2,870 feet a second mark, obviously using Vargate as a powder. From what I've seen and what I've heard, their barrel life's around 2,000 to 3,000 rounds. So you obviously do have more barrel life than, say, for instance, a 6 Creedmoor or a 6 GT. So I have almost twice more or 3 times more barrel life, pushing more velocity. And in fact, this cartridge is super simple to load. Now, I'm not trying to sell you guys this cartridge. I'm just going over my experience. I'm actually using Lever Evolution powder, which is a very fine ball powder, and in fact makes loading this cartridge very easy. All I have to do is pretty much prep the brass cases, load them up on the reloading tray, and go to town with the Lyman Brassmith, dumping the charge after I have it set. In fact, I don't even check my charges because they're all within a 0.1 of a grain with the Lyman Brassmith. So if you guys are looking for a powder measure, highly recommend the Lyman Brassmith. In fact, I'll put a link in the description below for Uncle Jim on his channel. He did a great 3-year review with the Lyman Brassmith. So I spent a lot less time behind the reloading bench and more time down range, and that has definitely shown progress and results on these matches for me, at least. Now, I've only been competing for about 1.5 years now with PRS. This will be the 7th match I've been to. You guys that follow my channel have seen me go out to Competition Dynamics with Mr. X-Ring Ray, another phenomenal shooter, another great channel. Definitely check him out. And I took the 6-arc, and obviously I'm using a factory rifle, basically a Savage 110. Still considered a custom rifle because it's got a custom barrel in it. So it goes to show that you could be really competitive with what you got. There's always limiting factors to it. So a production rifle, for instance, the Savage 110, is not as smooth as, for instance, a Defiance Deviant or Ruckus, or for instance a Zermatt TL3 Action. So when you get to this style of shooting, PRS shooting, those little, I guess, advantages that you have with a custom action actually helps you gain more time. So some of the stages, as you could tell, I timed out. A lot of it was me trying to find my target and also manipulating the rifle. So that's where the custom action kind of takes advantage of. But you have to narrow down your fundamentals first. So this match, like I said, it reached out to 1,300 yards, and as you could tell, I was shooting off positional shooting. I wasn't prone. I was off a tabletop or off of a tank trap, shooting out to 1,100 yards. So knowing your point of impact and positional shooting, there's a challenge called Chris Way, the Craft Challenge. I really recommend you guys trying that challenge because it will definitely show you if you're capable of holding MOA in a positional shot, just like I was doing. So at 1,100 yards off a tank trap, and you're kneeling, you actually have a different point of impact. Your zero will actually change. For me, it is a bottom left point of impact change for me, almost about a half a mil low and about 2/10 left, and that's consistent in what I do when I go from prone to a kneeling position. So at 1,000 yards, all of that is exaggerated. It's you know, it's going to show. I know for sure I had my wind hold correct, and I managed to take a shot, and I was just off the plate. And like I mentioned, that's just all about you knowing your rifle and knowing what you're capable of doing. So PRS is a very competitive sport. I really enjoy it, and I highly encourage you guys to get involved. If you guys are looking for a local match or want to know how you can get involved in a match like this, check out practicescore.com and look at your local clubs. Usually on the websites of your local clubs, you'll have a calendar and it'll list what they have coming up for events. You know, as you can tell, everybody's very helpful. There's a little bit of coaching going on with this kind of match, because this is just a club match. Obviously, if this was a trophy match, like for instance a Vortex challenge or something, there wouldn't be allowed any kind of coaching at all. But I really recommend, if you guys are getting into PRS, to go to these club matches and just kind of learn off each other. Everybody there is very helpful. If you don't have all the gear that you need, for instance a tripod, binos or whatnot, bags, everybody's willing to share what they have to get you going. And in fact, the best thing you could do to see what you need to get into, what kind of gear you need, is to go to these matches and find out for yourself. So don't look at these videos like my videos, or anybody out there that's saying, hey, you need to buy this, you need to buy that. Everybody's different. Everybody's built different. Everybody has a different comfortable feeling being behind the rifle, a different way of shooting. So the only way you're going to find out to know what gear you need is to get out there and try it. So like I mentioned, get out there and try out those PRS club matches. It really will make you a better shooter. It's just very enjoyable. And the one I went to is Desert Sportsman Rifle Club. So if you're anywhere in the Las Vegas area, it's Desert Sportsman Rifle Club. That's a great little place to go shooting. Obviously, you could tell everybody there is pretty friendly. So come down and join us. Well, folks, that's all I got for this video. Really appreciate you guys watching. Comment below. Let me know. I want to hear your suggestions, comments, and feedback. As always, y'all stay safe out there, and I'll catch y'all on the next video.